Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon, and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I've been married to a covert narcissist for close to 20 years. I'm separated from him now, and what I do with this channel is I use my real life examples of having been married to a narcissist to help people gain knowledge about what narcissism is and what it can do to people that are in relationships with narcissists. And also as a warning to other people or somebody who might be in a relationship like I was, and to recognize these signs, because I didn't know until about a year ago that I had no idea I was married to a narcissist or that I was a codependent. I didn't know what it was. Now that I've educated myself, I'm very much in the process of recovery from the abuse that was inflicted on me, and I really want to use this channel to help other people. So today's video is going to be that narcissists are cowards. Narcissists are the emotional equivalent of Jell-O. They might look like they have substance, but in reality, any pressure will dissolve them into nothing. Narcissists are actors. Every minute of every day, they're playing a role. It's all fake. Their life is phony. They have no empathy, no morals, no standards. If they're a man, they lack any innate protectiveness of their children or wife. They're scared toddlers in an adult's body. And if you're like my husband and you're 46 years old and you act like a toddler, it's incredibly unattractive. Now, being a codependent, I put up with a lot of things that I should not have. And I think the reality is that if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you are very likely a codependent, because I really can't fathom anybody who has any value or knows their own worth would be in a relationship with a narcissist. They're evil, cruel people. They hurt you, they don't care about you. It's not a relationship. If you're a codependent, you give and give and give, and a narcissist is only too happy to take. Now, in today's video, I'm going to use as an example of a narcissist being a coward, a family trip that we took a few years ago. A couple years ago, I wanted to take my kids to Universal Studios. We are big Harry Potter fans, and we don't go on a lot of vacations. It was a huge trip for us, and my kids and I were really excited to go. My husband, he was excited to go too, but he is very much, he's a lazy person. His idea of a vacation is what he did growing up. He likes to sit his butt on the beach, drink alcohol, and eat, and sit in the sun. That's what he likes to do. That's fine, but that's not what my kids and I like to do. This was a trip that we were going to be going to Universal, walking around and having a really great time. So I made the huge mistake of trying to be nice to my in-laws. I don't have a great relationship with them. This started at the beginning of my relationship with my husband when we were engaged. His mother is a codependent. His father is a narcissist. That's the same with my family. Both our families are rife with this situation where there's narcissistic males, codependent females, and I fit right into that. Part of my recovery is making sure, because I have 2 children myself, that my own daughter will not grow up to be codependent and my son will not grow up to be a narcissist over my dead body. I am absolutely determined to change the trajectory of all our lives. That's actually why I'm separated from my husband. Before I knew about this, before I knew I was being used and that my husband didn't love me, I would have stayed in this relationship. I put up with a lot of pain and trauma. In fact, I have PTSD. My kids do as well. It's really ugly being married to a narcissist. And as the channel progresses, I'll go into more of these stories. Today, I just want to give the example of narcissists being cowards. They can't stand up for their families, can't stand up for anybody, not even themselves. They are, like I said, Jell-O. So I wanted to go to Universal. My in-laws live in Florida. I decided that it would, maybe my in-laws would like to see my husband over his birthday, because they hadn't seen him on his birthday for several years, and they could see the kids and spend one afternoon with us at Universal. That was supposed to be the trip. We're staying at a hotel, renting a car, buying our own tickets. That's how it was going to be. Well, my husband, so it was all my idea. My husband told my in-laws about this, but he took credit for the idea. And that's fine, but it ended up being a problem later. So we're going to do this, and then it turns out that my mother-in-law took the trip from me, and she gave it to my children as a Christmas present. So it was supposed to be our trip, and they were spending a couple hours with us and some time on my husband's birthday. We're going to be there for a week. No, she took the trip. She gave it to my kids for a Christmas present, and she said that they're bringing us down to Florida. We're going to stay at their house, and guess what? Grandpa's going to be our personal chauffeur, driving us all around to Universal and anything else that we wanted to do, which was really what she wanted to do. So I was livid. That was not the way the trip was supposed to be at all. She took it from me. I was really upset. I told my husband I was upset. He knew I was upset. And what he did, because he's a coward, he can't confront his parents, or he can't put my needs first. He can't put his children's needs first. He couldn't say anything to them. But what he did do is he future faked me. He told me that, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of this. Oh, you know how my parents are. That's not gonna happen. We're gonna go down. It's gonna be great. We'll still see them just that, I guess 2 days, on his birthday and then the Universal Day. That's it. Or a Universal Day, because you're supposed to go a few times. So, of course, that was all a lie. He was future faking me, and that's the thing with narcissists. They future fake, and that's part of being cowardly. They can't confront anything at that moment. So he told me what I wanted to hear, that he was going to take care of this. He had no intention of doing that, but future faking is when, a narcissist will tell you something they're going to do in the future so they can get something they want now. In this case, he wanted to have a good Christmas. Now, I've had issues with my in-laws in the past where my husband is only too happy to take things from them, and they give a lot of things to him, but not to my children and myself. Now, I actually don't want anything from them because everything that comes from them has strings attached. They'll give my husband, they gave him a car for his birthday one year. They gave him a new computer. They gave him a riding mower. They give me a $100 gift card somewhere. They give my kids $200. They definitely show how they feel. Their son is their boy. It's really my mother-in-law, I should say, but that's her boy, and I am bad because I have taken her boy from her. I have my husband has a brother, and he's not married, so I'm the only woman in the family. I'm the only daughter-in-law, and then there's my daughter. But my children are attached to me, so they're not as good as her boy. So everything's about her boy, and he takes from them, even though, it's one thing if, you have a parent who's generous to adult children, that's fine, but it's a problem when the spouse has an issue with it. My husband takes things, and there's always strings attached, and I don't like it, but he still does it. So it turns out that, January comes, February comes, I'm ready to make plane reservations. I get to make hotel reservations. So I tell this to my husband, and it turns out, guess what? They already bought the plane tickets. They paid for them, they bought them, and they want us to stay at their house. I was livid. I told him, there's no way. This is our trip. You said that you were going to talk to them. Oh, I know, but they already made the reservations. I can't hurt them. And guess what? The plane reservations, they're non-refundable. I told him we'll pay them back, give them the money for that. And I was angry anyways because then they decided when we're going. They decided the dates, the times, everything. So, but they wouldn't take that money. They won't take that money. Oh, it's not a big deal. It just makes them happy. I gave in. As codependent, I gave in. I was so enraged. It is very unattractive to me because we've had prior issues with him taking things from his parents. When he's a grown man, he doesn't even take his own family on vacation. They're paying for it. They're making everything. They're making the plans, and he's okay with it. Then it turns out that we can't have a hotel because it's going to offend them. They're going to be upset. It's not a big deal. We're not going to have to spend that much time with them. We're not going to be doing everything with them. I don't even know how he can say that to me with a straight face. Of course we are. We're living at their house. So I put down my foot with the rental car. I told him we're getting a rental car. I needed to have the rental car for a few reasons. One is that my father-in-law is a very unsafe driver. I don't want to be in the car with him. I don't want my kids in the car with him. I get car sick. I need to sit in the front. And there's no way that was going to happen because I'm the lowly daughter-in-law. I get to be out in the back with the help. That's how he would look at it. So I couldn't do that. And also I wanted to have some freedom. I didn't want to be stuck at their house with no way to go anywhere. So I really put my foot down on that. So I told my husband, this was a week before we were leaving because he kept telling me he was going to talk to his parents and talk to his parents. Of course, he always puts that off because he is a coward. So finally I told him I'm making the reservations. So he was forced to call his parents and tell them that they weren't going to be driving us around. We were going to rent a car. They lost it. They were so upset. They yelling and screaming at my husband, blaming me. It was all my fault. I've always been rude to them. I've always hated them. I never let them do anything. Lies, lies, lies. I gave them everything. But part of the problem is my husband takes credit for it. They probably thought that my husband wanted to come down there and I was ruining it for him. I was upsetting their boy. They hung up on him. And my husband pitched a fit. He started throwing stuff around the room. He's throwing staplers, he's ripping stuff out the walls, he's destroying his desk. He had a full-blown temper tantrum as a grown man. So I took my children downstairs and I was comforting them. They were afraid, and I was telling them that, oh, Dad, I was normalizing this crazy behavior is what I was doing. Oh, Daddy's upset, or he's just stressed out at work, that type of thing. And then my husband went into a full-blown silent treatment. He wouldn't talk to me. So I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to deal with pet sitters coming over. Are we going on this trip? And I'm trying to figure out, should we go on the trip? Should we not go on the trip? I'm trying to make arrangements. So finally, it blew over. His parents accepted that I was the evil witch who was forcing my husband to get a rental car against his will. They probably thought that they were being so kind and generous and not wanting to ruin the trip for the kids. Reality is, I should have canceled the trip. I shouldn't have went on the trip. I should have not rewarded his behavior and let him have everything that he wanted. I should have had some self-respect for myself. I didn't. I talked to my mother about this, and she said to me, because I was thinking we were going to have to cancel the trip because my husband wasn't even talking to me. My in-laws weren't talking to anybody. It was an absolute disaster. And this is a perfect example of a dysfunctional family. Can't just have a nice time together. Everything gets to get ruined because you're in a family where you have narcissists and codependents, all the codependents trying to keep the narcissists happy, and the narcissists are blowing up and acting like immature twits. So, blew over, talked to my mother, and she's like, oh, you can't cancel the trip. The poor kids, it's not their fault. You don't want to upset your in-laws. You don't want to have trouble with them. What's the big deal? You could just get your rental car. But, it's not a big deal to stay at the house. They miss you. They want to see the kids. They want to see their son. So I gave in. Codependence, I gave in. It irritates isn't even the right word. I'm disgusted with myself. I have to just keep telling myself, I feel so blessed that I'm aware of this now, because going forward, this wouldn't happen. So I was able to get my rental car, but they got everything else. They got the whole trip. We spent one miserable afternoon at Universal because my father-in-law, as a narcissist, he couldn't wait in any lines. He was hot. He didn't like being there. It was crowded. So they ended up leaving. They left. They just took off and they went back to the house. So it ended up in that way good, because then I could spend the rest of the time with my kids, and it was fun, but it was only for a couple of hours. It was supposed to be every day, but my husband let them take the whole trip over. He couldn't say no to them. So this is an example of what can happen, and an extreme example of somebody that is just a coward, can't put their family first. And the thing is, as soon as it blew over, as soon as they allowed me to have my rental car, my husband was just fine. He didn't care that he had made my life miserable for days while he was ignoring me. Well, I didn't know what was going on. Am I supposed to cancel a pet sitter? Are my kids going? What should I tell them? Should I pack? I didn't know what to do. He didn't care. He was fine. We're going down there. He's sleeping on the plane. There's no, he had not a care in the world. He was hanging out with his parents there, having a great time, sitting in the hot tub with them. It was never, wow, I did this horrible thing. I need to tend to my wife. I need to make sure she's all right. No, he's a narcissist. Everything's about him. I'm a codependent. My role is to take care of all the narcissists. And in my mother-in-law's case, even though she's a codependent, she's higher up than me because, she's older and she's paying for everything. So this is today's video. I know this is a long video, so I hope you stuck to it to the end. If you did, thank you. Hope you'll consider subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up. I'm trying to make a video every day, so I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.